Hi guys, welcome to the Keur which edition?
Fifth.
Fifth edition of the Rangman show. So Keur is my compatriot, my partner in crime when it comes to the Rangman show. I have him for the second time. Today we have two other very
Yes.
esteemed guests. One is my father, Mr. Arun Rangra. Welcome, Dad.
Hi everybody.
And the other is
Thank
my
you.
brother-in-law,
Hello.
Mayuresh. Welcome, Mayuresh.
Hi.
I'm Irish.
So
Thank you.
today we discuss a very pertinent and important and topical topic, which is on Vikram Batra, fondly known as Shesha, or as his slogan was, "Ye Dil Mange More." So we obviously have got more people to do this "Ye Dil Mange More." So as we speak about Vikram Batra, before we dive into his heroics during the Kargil War. Because today is Independence Day, the first question that I'll pose to my guests is, what does freedom mean to you? Starting with you, Dad.
Okay, this word freedom has lots of connotations. Now I've got a very strong spiritual bent of mind, so I start by saying spiritually, freedom means that free of all impurities. Your mind gets free from all impurities, so it becomes a pure mind, and a pure mind is a efficient mind. Politically speaking, freedom would mean running the country without any external interference. Philosophically speaking, freedom in an ideal situation, it would mean freedom from all caste divide, freedom from poverty, and so on.
Right. Mayuresh, what does
Yeah.
freedom mean to
So
you,
for
man?
me, So when I say the word freedom, it means that brings to me three words. That is, first of all, the sacrifices. The second one, the environment where I can live peacefully. The pure secularism, okay, where I feel safe. And third, the most very important is the freedom comes with a lot of responsibility of every individual to maintain that. So that's how I can put a freedom as a holistic the concept or holistic the environment.
Uh, the co-host of the Rangban show, Mr. Keur.
Very honestly, I will not be able to put it in any better words than what Mayuresh and Uncle have already put it in. Just adding to what Mayuresh said though, freedom has a huge price attached to it. And more often than not, especially in today's world and the kind of environment that we exist within, we don't necessarily appreciate or even know the price that has already been paid on our behalf for our freedom. Be it the freedom fighters who fought the British at the during the independence struggle, be it the Indian Army and the armed forces and paramilitary forces who have been constantly, intelligence agencies who have been constantly uh, at odds against everything that stands against our sovereignty of our republic. So, what both of them said, I completely agree with that. And one aspect of what Mayuresh said, that is something that strongly I agree with again, is the cost of freedom. That is something that we don't really understand properly. That is something that I feel.
So guys, freedom for me is to decide what I want to eat for dinner. But jokes apart, freedom is ridding yourself of all your malices for me. Living the way you want to in a nice frame of mind and ridding yourself of all ills. That is freedom. Freedom from malice and freedom from ills. Speaking about malice, guys, our neighbors, I would name the country, but they hold a lot of malice towards us with the 47 war, with the 65 war, with the 71 war, and with the Kargil 99 war. So what do you guys have to say on that? Starting with you, Dad.
The root of this major issue was sown by Britishers. They never wanted to leave this country. But then when they were forced to leave, when they had no other choice but to leave, which was immediately after Second World War, then, and they had very shaitan mind. Britishers had very shaitan mind. So one of that mind probably thought that if we are going, let's leave in a manner where these two countries can never stabilize. They can never live in peace. And that seed of partition was sown in during that time, sometime in 1946. And I'm sorry to say, but Percy major public may not like it, but this is a hard fact which we have to digest. The two of our main stalwarts of independent movement, Gandhiji and Nehru, they seconded this proposal. God knows why, what was the reason behind that. If these two people had stood against this, I'm sure this would not have happened. And the country had remained unified. So, there was this religion divide always which existed. But contrary to that, in Punjab, the two communities, they live in absolute peace and harmony. I mean, they were even ready to marry their children into one another this way. But over a period of time, again, because of politicians, it went stronger and stronger. That divide became stronger and stronger.
So the malice, according to you, that is political.
Absolutely.
Keyur?
Let me add something which happened recently. I came across a gentleman who is from Delhi, and he has started two WhatsApp groups. One is called India Pakistan Heritage Group, and there are about 900 odd members in that group, out of which more than 600 are Pakistani nationals. And they chat, they converse on this WhatsApp group every day, and the kind of harmony I have seen. In fact, this gentleman made me talk to two Pakistani nationals. They had so much warmth within them. In fact, one of them said, "Sir, aap aaiye, hamare guest bankar."
Why do you think there's malice between these two countries, and what's your take on the wars that have happened?
I'll try to break it down and put my views forth. So, like Uncle already said about the partition, how it happened and why it happened. Brits never wanted a strong India, because then that would have created a power center and in the subcontinent, and they still had a lot of vested interest, be it in China or elsewhere throughout the Asia, and creating India or even Pakistan for that matter becoming a power center would have been an issue for them, as well as the rest of the superpowers that were sort of upcoming at the time. That is one part of it. So they left it so unstable, hoping that both the countries would constantly be at odds with each other, and they won't progress. Quite the contrary happened, at least with India. We have always had that mindset where, as a country, in spite of all the odds, we have come a long way from compared to what we were in 1947. Looking back at it, 75 years, in the span of 75 years, we have done a lot. We have problems like corruption, poverty, education. These problems still persist. It's not like these problems have gone away, but in spite of all of these problems, in spite of the external pressure that was put on us, we have managed to come a long way. That is not the case with Pakistan. Pakistan, since 1947 up until today, is hellbent on getting Kashmir back. God knows for what reason, and for that reason, they have been waging a war, a sort of war against India for the longest period of time, and it's been been in nobody's interest, not even Pakistan. They have not benefited one bit from this. And I do not know what part of their senior leadership fails to understand, or has the thing gone so out of their hands also that there is no going back for them now. But time and again, India has been put in a position where we had to defend ourselves. We had to put our foot down and sort of say, ki, no, this cannot happen. And even when we were not the main aggressors, we were not somebody who made the first move with malice in heart. We were always under the international pressure to keep calm, keep restraint, ye mat karo, wo mat karo. Uh, it's there's a lot of forces at play when all these things happen, and we should not delve too deep into all of that. But having said that, the kind of neighborhood that we have, Pakistan to begin with, aiding to that China, it's always going to be very difficult for India to keep on the path that we are right now of becoming a probable superpower in their own right. Not a military power, not necessarily even an economic power, but just a superpower who can do it all kind of a thing. So we can do it. We have a good space agency. We have decent technological things that are constantly going on in the country. Armed forces are decent, economical. So we all round development ho sakta hai. It should happen. But for that to happen, we need to be able to get out of these conflicts and find a way forward.
Yuri,
So the wars that happened, those were not. Anji.
so sir,
Yeah,
आपका
you,
क्या है? What are your 2 cents on malice which the neighbors have thrown at us or they hold against us? And what about the 4 wars that have happened till date? Excluding China, 3 wars, 4 wars actually.
Yeah, 4.
you asking
Mayuresh?
me?
No, I'm asking Mayuresh.
Okay. No, I thought you asked Dad. So I guess most of the points which I had in my mind that was covered by Dad and Keyur. I feel in my opinion, all the facts which had happened are already there. But I feel that we as a political approach or as a country, we should not get involved in unnecessary what you can say which can be avoided unnecessary. So for an example, I might be wrong, but the way we supported in Bangladesh freedom in 1971 war. Okay, so I guess it was not required at that time. That actually somehow, somewhere built up the two pressure between two countries, especially India and Pakistan. It could have been handled in a different way on a political level. So already there are many scars, okay, from both, like to the both the sides, and such incidents or such what you can involvement can build up more pressure on such things.
You know what? Kashmir, according to me, is not the main issue from Pakistan political office point of view. If you see historically, right from the time Pakistan got independence, if you see historically, none of the governments were stable. In between, there were dictators, and then again there was democratic government. So their main objective was to distract the public attention towards Kashmir issue, so that the main issues with the public faces, that is overlooked.
Absolutely.
So Kashmir from their point of view is not the main issue. That's not their sincere desire. They have somehow not been able to govern the country. The major issues of poverty and food, shelter, house for everybody, corruption, all that they have not been able to handle.
So in a way, Britishers succeeded 100% in their agenda.
Yes, so far, yes.
So that brings
not
me
100%, but yeah, to some extent, yeah.
So you're saying that Kashmir is basically a decoy for Pakistan, and it's their own political instability that's holding them back.
Correct, correct.
Absolutely,
That's
yes.
Okay. So speaking about Kashmir, when I think about Kashmir, I have to think about Vikram Batra, Sher Shah, the guy who successfully conquered two peaks. What are the names of those? Peaks?
First one was 5140. First one that they where the after one which
What
was
is
done by Barka Dutt with that peak was 5140. After that, he had said his success slogan. And the second one was 4875, where he ultimately made the supreme sacrifice.
so when we talk about Vikram Batra, what is the first emotion that comes to you? That starting with you.
This in few words. First of all, I'll explain. It is, I don't know what kind of motivation is this. This is this is beyond us. It is, of course, highest level of motivation, where nothing
Yeah.
comes to their mind except fight for the motherland. For example, Vikram Batra, just before he went to the front, he was having a very steady affair, and both he and the girl had decided to marry, although she was a Sikh girl. And he said, "When I come back, we'll get married." Although there were some differences from parents' point of view,
Sorry,
but
uh,
once he was there,
guys, sick here is Sardarni. She didn't suffer from the virus. She was okay.
so
Yeah.
once he was there, nothing else mattered to him. It's the kind of motivation, just sole focus of fighting for the motherland, killing as many enemy soldiers as I can. This is kind of motivation.
Right. For you, you're on mute.
Yeah. In the last episode that
You've again gone on mute. Just be
I'm still
careful.
on
You
mute?
go on mute. So just avoid that.
Am I on mute now? Am I
No.
audible?
Yeah.
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 You've again gone
Discussed
on
in the
mute.
last. How?
Now you're
Hold
fine.
on.
Now you're fine. Just go on. Mute.
Again,
हाँ,
it has-
go.
अभी आ रहा है?
Yeah. Go.
So, like we discussed last time when we did the podcast about Indira Ji, one place that I look at for motivation is the Indian Army, and Kargil being one of the most recent proper full-scale wars that had happened. The stories are still very fresh. It just happened 22 years ago. So the stories are still very fresh in pretty much everybody's mind. I have some glimpses of remembering watching the news and just there is a war going on. And being a kid, I was about I think 5 or 6 years old at the time, and I remember asking my mom that यहाँ पे tanks आएंगे क्या road पे? And she was like, no, that's not how it happens. It'll be fine. It's happening at Kargil over there, and it'll be over soon. And it was, because that's how Indian Army deals with Pakistan every now and again. So one of the stories that stood out at that time was that of Captain Vikram Batra. One of the reasons being in his first encounter at Kargil, he was a lieutenant. He led an attack at point 5140 along with Sanjeev Jambal, who was also a lieutenant at the time. And then he became the first lieutenant in the Kargil War, I think. Was it in the Kargil War or in general in the history of Indian Army, who got a field promotion? He was promoted from lieutenant to captain on field itself, and right then and there he was recommended for the Mahavir Chakra, which is
By
the
Mr.
second
Joshi,
highest
right?
wartime gallantry
Was promoted
by
by Mr.
Colonel
Yeah, Colonel
yeah,
Joshi.
Colonel
Colonel
YK,
Joshi.
Colonel YK Joshi. Yes. So I do not know for what reason I have always been extremely fascinated by stories of army, Indian army, be it any army for that matter, any fighting force, because I have not been able to figure out what is it, like Uncle said, what is it that makes a man go there knowing fully well that he may not come back and still do his duty 100%. That is a riddle to me, because both of us we've worked in advertising. We know what it's like when, like, there are a lot of days when you're low on energy, you don't want to do it, and We somehow try to manage and pick ourselves up and get the job done and everything. But it's nothing compared to what they go through, because there are so many levels to it. Like there is a human level to it where you might take somebody else's life. You might have to take somebody else's life, and there is no right or wrong in that. It's just something that you have to do at one point, because otherwise it's going to be your life if you don't pull that trigger. And being in that kind of a situation, that is something that always fascinates me. And then I came across this story of a guy who was just 24 years old at the time, led a frontal assault. Full frontal assault is something that I did not understand pretty well back then. Right now, I understand the magnitude of the situation. There was no other approaches to the enemy bunker. There was a stalemate at 0.4875 for quite some time in the last approach of that particular peak. There was a stalemate for about 1.5 days. Lieutenant Naveen Nagappa was there. His leg was blown to pieces. That is when Vikram Batra rushed to his position, took over his side of the things, and managed to get it done. He just got it done. It didn't matter to him that he died in the process. And that is something that fascinates me. I'm getting goosebumps right now as I speak about it, because the movie is also very fresh in my mind. I watched it about thrice, say, in the last 2 days, especially the last part where I think it's a slight deviation from the topic. It's a good Bollywood movie with decent fight scenes after
We'll
quite
get on
some
to the
time.
movie, Keyur. But you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting you bring that up, because for me, if you don't kill them, then they'll kill you and they'll step on your motherland, which you
Of
really
course,
don't
yes,
want.
yes,
Yeah.
of course,
So
of course.
that feeling of my motherland being able to, my motherland being conquered by someone else is reason enough for you to go and kill that person. And
Of
there
course,
was
I'd
this,
like to add, yeah.
there's this one thing that Vikram Batra said that मैं वापस आऊंगा जरूर, इधर मैं खुद से आऊंगा या तिरंगे में लपेटते हुए आऊंगा. So that was a passion that that guy had, that if I'm going to the front, I'm going to make a difference. And that, as
Yeah.
you rightly said, that passion, that feeling gives me also goosebumps. Mayuresh, what do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think?
Let me
Yes,
add,
yes.
sorry,
Dad.
let me add something to this. That another thing happened which accentuated his motivation. You all must have heard of Saurabh Kalia.
Yes.
Saurabh Kalia, who
First
went
casualty
on a
of the.
patrol with 5 soldiers.
I'd just be a little
He was
louder.
captured by-
Speak a little louder.
He went on a patrol with 5 soldiers on LOC. He was captured by Pakistan Army, and then they were tortured. 3rd degree was given, and then their bodies were returned, and Saurabh Kalia's body came in several pieces. And Saurabh Kalia was junior to Vikram Batra in college. They both belonged to Palampur. So he knew him as a younger brother. So when he came to know about this incident of Saurabh Kalia, that was probably after they had captured 5140. So that accentuated his motivation. He must have given some mob hand, and then he said, now I will teach them a lesson. That was very important part to his motivation.
Mayuresh, for you?
Yeah. So the incident which you mentioned, that before Kargil was started, I read it somewhere. Vikram Batra was sitting with his friends. He was in his native place, and then Kargil war ka call aaya, and then friends asked him that, "Yaar, now what is going to happen? How you are going to be a part of?" Because I guess it was optional for them to join at that time, at that particular time or not. So Vikram Batra, of course, said yes, and then he answered back to friends that मैं तिरंगा लहरा के आऊंगा या तिरंगे में लिपट के आऊंगा. But ironically, one fortunate thing happened and one fortunate, but both the things happened exactly what he said as he committed. One more point I wanted to highlight, that even before he joined Indian Army, Vikram Batra, he pursued for Merchant Navy.
Right.
Okay, he got selected in Merchant Navy with a handsome package, with a handsome salary, and comparatively
Handsome, much like yourself, no, Mayuresh?
Sorry?
Handsome, much like yourself.
Okay, it's debatable. Okay, just
It
to continue. So after he got selected, he got to know his package and he was about to join. Something went to his my mind, purely passion to contribute to the country on field. And then he rethought about it, and then he pursued Indian Army exams and all the trainings, and then he joined Indian Army. That is a very big and what you can say, the huge decision to make, rather than joining merchant navy job than the on-field Indian Army. That's really huge. So those
Guys,
kind of passionate things we can see if we look at the Vikram Batra overall.
so speaking about the army, I just had an observation. When they take the military course and they join the army, uh, three words are totally eliminated from their psyche, right? Fear of death. What do you guys think on that?
I
That you,
feel,
okay,
okay.
go on, go on.
I feel, it's not like they lose the fear of death. It's not like that fear of death will ever go away. It's always going to be there because that is how your survival instinct kicks in whenever you are in sticky situations, and that's how your training kicks in, and that's how you survive at the end of the day. But I think through the kind of training that they go through, or they get, it is subdued, or they're supposed to look past it and move past it using their training. So I don't feel that the fear of death ever goes away, because death is the final thing at the end of the day, and that fear I don't feel ever goes away. It just sort of
But
is subdued.
it
They learn to
reduces
live with it.
much in intensity as compared to an average Joe like you or me.
Maybe they're able to, yeah, so that's how they're able to deal with that anxiety a lot better than anybody else because of the training and the environment that they're in. That
Dad,
is
what
what I
about
feel.
you? Yeah.
No, I I think that their training and motivation given in the training is such that they almost overcome the fear of death. Their only
Yeah.
motivation is to kill the enemy wherever and whenever they find, and how many number they come across. And I have to fight for motherland, and they normally they would tell before going कि मैं वापस शायद नहीं आऊंगा. So that fear of death is not, it's totally missing from there, and that's how they are able to do these kind of deeds. I mean, like in China war, if you all had heard of Major Shaitan Singh, he uh, his command under him there were only 100 soldiers, and they
Yeah.
fought against some 3,000 Chinese soldiers, and they killed 1,700. 1:17 was the ratio. You can't do if you have fear of death.
Ayuresh, what about you?
It's a part of completely, it's part of their training. That yesterday I attended one session which was arranged by my company, and one of the colleagues' husband was invited, who is in Indian Army as a captain. And on multiple questions, while answering multiple questions, he touched this point of like, we don't have fear of death at all. We go under like through our lot of rigorous training for 1 month, 3 months, and multiple trainings keep happening even in their day of job. So it's so they made you strong in that way, that on an emotional resilience, on a mental part, you don't get that fear over the period of time.
You know, guys, as much
So
as I'm enjoying having this conversation with you guys, and the words, the slogan of Vikram Batra is echoing in my head also right now, Ye Dil Mange More. We have about 9 minutes left on this podcast. So I would like to give you guys 2 minutes each to tell more about Vikram Batra personally as you see him. And then after that, I'll do a wind up. So starting with you, Dad. A
No,
minute and a half. Yeah.
his commander that time, Colonel Y.K. Joshi, Yogesh Joshi, he is brother-in-law of my cousin. So I had personally interacted with him. He said this fellow was not one of the probably the bravest of officers, and he was always upfront. He was asking for responsibility, and that's how after conquering that 5140, he was not supposed to going to the other thing. He was to take rest, but
Yeah, he was on the restaurant recoup.
he pleaded with his officer, and that's how he was included.
Keyur. Actually, Mayuresh, let Keyur then end because he'll have a lot to say.
So I just want to add one more incident which I read recently, that after they captured the first point, which is 4875, Vikram Batra wrote a letter to his twin brother that I
Vishal
don't
Batra.
think so.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Vishal Batra.
Yes, Vishal Batra. So he wrote a letter to him, and he mentioned that so they get these kind of instincts, I guess. And he wrote in the letter that I'm going for the second point capturing, and मेरा भरोसा नहीं है कुछ हमारे parents का ख्याल रखना. So somewhere he got that instinct that he's gonna sacrifice his life there, and knowing that going ahead is it's beyond any words. It's truly exceptional.
Right. Keyur.
Okay, Pranay, before you go to give me 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
I wrote a kavita immediately after Kargil war, and I know time is limited, so I will not narrate the full kavita. I'll just present two sentences, which is very, very applicable to Vikram Batra. मौज मस्ती की उम्र में सरहद पर गोलियां झेल रहे, देश की रक्षा खातिर जान की बाजी लगा रहे, जिस खून से पल पल सींचा दे रहे उसका इम्तिहान, धन्य हमारे वीर जवान, देश की ये अमूल्य संतान, मांग रही है फिर से आज भारत मां जिनका बलिदान. एंड अबाउट द ब्रेवरी ऑफ विक्रम बत्रा, उठा बंदूक और गिर जा दुश्मन पर बिजली जैसे, एक वार से 10 सिर काट, दिखा दे अपना बाहुबल ऐसे, कांप रही है धरती तेरी गर्जन से ऐ जवान, धन्य हमारे वीर जवान, देश की ये अमूल्य संतान.
Beautiful.
Too good. I was Vishal Batra has a TED talk about Vikram Batra, and in the TED talk he mentions about the IMA mess, which is basically the Indian Military Academy, which is where all the officers and everybody go for their initial training after NDA and all, which is where Vikram Batra studied and passed out from. So the mess is named after him now. It's called, I think, the Vikram Batra mess. And every evening everybody sits together for dinner or supper or whatever it is, and the usual tradition is that commanding officer jab tak khata nahi hai, nobody else touches their food. In that mess there is a chair left empty at the center table, which is for Vikram Batra, and I feel as a representation for everybody who could not come back, and nobody starts eating until food is served on that particular table, that particular in front of that particular chair. It's a representation not just of Vikram Batra, but everybody who did not make it back, everybody who made the supreme sacrifice, and their families to keep our freedom intact. It's not just their freedom they're fighting for; it's our freedom too, and it's sort of a freedom struggle even today. It's not any different from what it was 75 years ago. It's at the end of the day the price of freedom, and that was something that was very hard hitting. That these are the toughest. That this is where the toughest of the tough men in the country are trained to be the army officers, and they pay their homage every day by remembering them in their own ways. And trying to emulate them in their own ways, in their own life. Because like Uncle said that Vikram Batra was probably the bravest officer that he ever knew or came across. Uh, there are plenty like him who laid their lives. There was Lieutenant Anuj Nair in the same Kargil war. There was Sanjay Kumar who got Paramveer Chakra on 3 days before Vikram Batra passed away on 4th of July at the same place. He's still alive and serving in the army. Yogendra Yadav, who was hit some 16, 17 times, he crawled back, gave passed on information about the enemy camp or whatever, and then he took medical attention. Until then, he refused
Still
any medical
surviving.
attention. Yeah, it just so it's not just about patriotism or nationalism in that sense for me, especially. Of course, those are the overarching aspects of things, but at the end of the day, it's a combined struggle. It should be a combined struggle for everybody, for each citizen and individual. Like Mayuresh said at the beginning, it's not just about, we need to know the responsibilities that come with freedom. Like Spider-Man's uncle says to him, with great power comes great responsibility. The kind of freedom we have in India, it's unprecedented. No other country, even US for that matter, doesn't have that kind of freedom. And we should be cognizant of the prices that have been paid for it. And we should act in a way that is appreciative of the sacrifices made by others for us. And I don't know where to start, but I think this is, talking about it might land up somewhere where we start doing things which are appreciative in that regard.
So all you guys have
Just to
summed
add
it up.
into-
Yeah. Go on, Mayuresh.
Including the unsung heroes, very important.
Of course, yes.
There are multiple, what you can say, not only in Indian Armed Forces, but in,
Paramilitary forces and everything. Yeah.
Paramilitary forces. There are multiple faces who sacrificed in their own way, who did their contribution for a country, but they are not known. It's really to them also.
So guys, it's been an honor for me to have you guys on board. Mayuresh, Dad and Kevu. The way you've celebrated Vikram Batra has been phenomenal. It's been almost goosebumps. Like this, for me, freedom is actually evolution. You need to evolve and make use of your freedoms in a way that you become a better person. So that's the only thing that I would like to
Absolutely.
conclude it with. And before we end this podcast, in unison, I would like all you guys to say Jai Hind with me. And then we end this podcast.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
okay, 1, 2, 3.
Jai
Jai
Hind.
Hind! एक बारी और, एक
That
बारी
was
और,
not
सब
in
एक साथ,
unison.
सब एक साथ, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Jai Hind!
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind!
Jai Hind.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So-
Pranay, for giving this
Yeah.
opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks,
to you and
thanks,
Kevu
guys.
Thanks
also.
a lot.
So guys, if you
Very
like this
great.
video, please do watch, subscribe, share, and we'll keep bringing meaningful content. So until then, this is Pranay Rangra signing off from the Rangman Show. Thank you guys. Cheers, and we'll see you soon with
Wish
another
you a very
episode.
happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day
Jai
to all.
Hind.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye. Jai Hind.
Independence Day, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.